Hi there, it's Carl Irwin, the Common Magician, and as always, I've got something interesting to show you. We always like to talk about probability on this channel. It's one of my favorite topics, and in spite of the fact that I love probability, I actually don't do gambling. That's one thing I don't do. Particularly, one thing that I think most people don't realize they should avoid is the one thing that nobody avoids, which is the slot machine, right? If you see the slot machines at the casinos, and you can always hear that sound and people pulling the levers, putting more and more money in, just waiting for things to line up. It's interesting the way slot machines work is that they work on probability. And again, we like probability here. The idea there is that you have multiple variables, and then they are just kind of rolled or spun, and they come up with a sum, or what you're really going for is you're going for a match, right? You want to have items match down the line. Of course, in those situations, like with some dice, you can actually see all sides and you can verify that it's fair, but not with a slot machine. You can't really see inside the machine, but for some reason people play them all the time. Likewise with cards, you could verify with a deck of cards the very different values on there. You could even verify if I had you shuffle these, I could give them to you. You could shuffle the cards up. In fact, just to make sure that everything is shuffled properly, could you just take like a packet and give it to somebody else? They can shuffle up. Maybe take another packet, give it to somebody else, and they can shuffle, and everybody can shuffle up their packets fairly. In fact, what we'll do is we'll just put these back together here. I'll just set them in the box. In fact, I don't want to touch them, so why don't you just slide your cards back into the box right there like that, facing this way. Very good. And put your packet back in there. So everything has been shuffled, hands off. I don't really know what the order is, and you have all verified that the cards are clean, right? Very interesting situation. And we want to trust the shuffle, but again, you all each shuffled your own packets. They're not really mixed. So could you please cut the cards? Always cut the cards, right? So you cut the cards. Very good. Now we're gonna take some random choices here like we would in a slot machine. You pull the lever, everything's mixed up, and then they stop one at a time down the slot machine, random hits, right? So from the shuffled pack, we'll just make a selection. Now I can see this card, but I can't see this one, right? So we'll take that off. And if they were marked, I would know what I'm looking at here. We'll kind of reset this. We have one thing spinning and it stops. And we'll try this again. We're going to riffle, strip, riffle, and again, could I have you cut, please? Go ahead and cut the cards. Very good. So we have riffle, riffle, strip, riffle, cut. Everything is verifiable. And again, we'll just make another selection, not this one, but we'll go here. Can't see it. Very fairly, we can see that's another selection. Same thing again. We'll riffle, we'll strip, and we'll riffle. In fact, what we'll do here is we're going to try something else. I'm just going to overhand shuffle, and I just want you to tell me to stop. Say stop right there. So we have two bottoms now that were not the same before. We have that one there. We have this one here. Again, the card we can't see from a shuffled deck. Completely fair situation, right? And you can see verifiably, again, all these cards were shuffled up. You did it at the beginning. You all checked it. You all saw it. And this is what we have. Very interesting, the probability of this happening. But we have 7777. We actually rolled a number at the very beginning. And if you take a look here, the number that we rolled, 7. So, just a little demonstration here on some principles, many principles we've talked about on the channel before, mechanisms to make that work. Maybe we'll come back to that at a later time. I want to try something different with you on the channel here. I have a couple of little series that are marked on the on playlists on the channel. One of them was a series called Guess the Method, right, where I would do a trick, and I haven't done one of these in a long time, where I do a trick and then I say guess the method, and it's usually a simple thing, and then I follow up with a very basic tutorial to demonstrate the thing that we did. I have some other series on there related to certain apparatus, the thumb tip, right? There's a thumb tip series on there. I have one on any card at any number, various types of ideas. But I want to try a new idea, a new series. This is going to be something different. I've never done this before. I don't know where it's going to go, and I don't know how well it's going to work. But it'll help motivate me, I think, to give you some new content that you're interested in. What I suggest is that you offer up here on this thread And I'll ask subsequent times as we do these. See if I can keep up with you. I want you to offer up an effect. So just write in the comments an effect. Now keep it simple. Something, I'm the common magician after all. Okay, I'm not going to levitate a train car. Okay, but put an effect in there. Something accessible. Close-up table magic, normal living room environment, common magician kinds of ideas. But I want you to suggest an effect. It doesn't have to be cards. It can really be anything. And I'll pick and choose from your suggestions and whatever I think might be accessible. And I will come up with a common magician approach to your effect. We'll see if this works. This may not work at all. If it doesn't work, I'll tell you quickly, okay? But make a recommendation, a simple effect, some kind of you can have multiple layers, but don't get crazy here, okay? I don't want to do full-out routines, but just an effect, an idea you've had or something you'd like to see, and I will come up with the common magician solution to that idea, and we'll present it here. So that's my challenge to you and challenge for me to see how this goes. So recommend an effect, something that you want to see. Again, could be cards, could be anything else, anything kind of in a living room environment, could be mentalism. And I will try to use the methods, some things we've talked about on the channel before, or maybe even some other things we haven't quite gotten to yet. But things that are accessible, approaches that are accessible for the common magicians out there in order to achieve that effect. And we'll talk about the pros and cons of my approach to that as we go forward. So there we go. A challenge for you. Put your effect on the comment section and we'll try to revisit it. So good luck with that and happy magicking.